What's up, everybody? We are live, presented by Slain Irish Whiskey. My name's Chris Denman, and I've got Will O'Donnell in studio. I brought a real Irishman in for St. Patrick's Day. What's up, Will?
Good morning, Chris. Closest thing you have to a real Irishman.
I was going to say, yeah,
a
especially
real Northeast Missouri Irishman.
with the limited options available, too. Real quick, before we dive into everything, big thanks to Slain Irish Whiskey for making this happen. The original story was we were going to do I guess you call it a pop-up podcast over at our friends at Tam Avenue Bar and Grill in Dogtown. Huge St. Patrick's Day celebrations over there. Canceled because of what's going on with coronavirus and quarantines locally here in St. Louis and around the world. But Slain is still pushing this, so if you're at home, you're making a grocery run, check out Slain Irish Whiskey. It's new and it's out there. If you're a fan of Irish whiskey, they'll take great care of you. They've got a great story. You can check out slainirishwhiskey.com to find out more information about that. And again, pick some up at your grocery store when you're fighting over toilet paper this week. Will O'Donnell, comedian from right here in St. Louis, hanging out today. Hilarious times, buddy.
Yeah, great. This is
what a time. So at this point, we've got it's COVID-19 coronavirus.
we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, I think that's why you bring in a comic from St. Louis. No, people's gigs are all canceled. It's kind of this weird thing where everybody's like, are we all agreeing to just stay home for 2 weeks? Are we going to keep fighting this? Government kind of forcing some moves on a few different levels. I kind of wish there would just be one succinct level because some people are still working. Some people are like, okay, we're a restaurant. We'll do curbside. I don't know. It's strange. Comics are out of it.
I don't know what's going to happen. It's unprecedented for sure. I read something yesterday that said, like, all right, in 3 weeks, the only people you'll know who don't have it are the people who stayed home at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's pretty scary. I guess I might stay home. But then I haven't. Like, I went to the grocery store, and I mean, I'm not going to a parade or they're all canceled.
A face-licking party. You're not going to go to that. Yeah. Have you been to many grocery stores since it kind of ramped up?
Last night I went to Aldi to get corned beef, and they were closed.
Damn it.
They changed their hours to 9 to 5 so they could restock. And then I went to Midtown Market, formerly known as IGA. And they were out. Man. Their meat was completely picked through. Like they just had like chitlins left or something.
Do you feel like yeah, I saw that. There was that pork belly was stacked high in the thing. I was like, I don't know, pork belly would probably get you through some tough times.
Yeah,
man.
Nobody in the freezer. You never know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, I'm thinking it's one of those things where like vegans are kind of sitting back and just laughing, just kind of like we told you. There's now your scarcities. You can't even survive with
the
this.
one-time vegans are accidentally right.
Yeah,
suck it up.
Exactly. We're going to hang out, talk. We're going to take listener questions. I want people to tell their best St. Patrick's Day story. So it is St. Patrick's Day. Again, our friends at Slain Irish Whiskey making this possible. Your last name is O'Donnell, so that's pretty
correct.
important to the I guess theme of the show. But if you guys have ridiculous St. Patrick's Day, St. Paddy's Day stories, I'd love to see those in the comments. Will and I will rank them.
Also, I think due to contract stipulations, we have to consume all that Irish whiskey that you agreed to.
That's correct. Yes, we have.
You, me, and the producer. We've got to go through a couple cases of Irish whiskey.
Yeah, I don't know if he's got the camera set up, but we'll say hey to our buddy Matt. He is the proprietor of a thing called Media Outlaws. That's a YouTube channel that we're a part of now. Matt is running the board today. He's been doing a lot of editing. He created this overlay. Do you know what that is? An overlay? You see how it says your name and you have all the graphics. You got St. Louis Counseling, Gateway Powder Coating, Jack Daniels,
nice.
Jack Daniels, Tennessee Apple. You got 1860s Bar and Grill. We'll talk about the karaoke contest we did over there. Matt McElrath, good to have you, man. Thanks for hanging out in these trying times.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, MMA on the mic, doing all kinds of different projects. If you want to support Matt, support us, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Media Outlaws. It's a very cool channel from right here in St. Louis. Got Gaslight Sessions, all kinds of cool stuff on there. I was talking about comments. We're gonna check that out. So keep comments coming. Give us your best St. Patrick's Day stories. Have you partaken in any St. Patrick? You're a military guy, so maybe on base somewhere.
You'd think I would have some great St. Paddy's Day stories. I don't have that many.
Yeah.
Military. I remember in boot camp, they were passing out mail, and the drill instructor goes, "O'Donnell, huh? I bet you rip it up on St. Paddy's Day."
It's the strangest.
Okay.
I mean, unlike every other 19-year-old male,
it's like one slur that's completely okay to make.
Absolutely.
No one gets offended at all. You know, Irish people are like, yeah, I do. I do. Yeah, my dad's an alcoholic. It's just cool.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, me and my 14 siblings take a day off from screaming at each other to scream at other people, and those celebrations are wild too, man. I'm trying to think. The craziest stuff I saw. I've been on Beale Street for St. Patrick's Day. The funniest thing I even remember from that, other than just the antics that were happening out there. So we get to the hotel, and we're like idiot 21-year-olds or 22-year-olds or something, and we had drove down from St. Louis. A bunch of us are in college, and we get there and we're asking about everything. Right? Like, hey, what's Memphis like on St. Patrick's Day? And they're like, oh, it's a blast, you know, have fun, do your thing, go check out Coyote Ugly, all that stuff. And then my favorite part, because everybody does this, and it's always the state over. They go, just watch out. Them sons of bitches from Alabama and Mississippi are out there ruining parties and everything. They're everywhere.
Right.
And I'm like, you're from Memphis. Like,
those Illinois MFers.
Yeah, it was terrible drivers from Illinois ruining everything. Same with Illinois to Missouri, too. But that's definitely something I remember. And then our friend was dressed up as a burly leprechaun, and he had to take pictures every 2 feet, which is pretty fun when you're that young and like the attention. But, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you didn't really get into it, huh?
I never had too many. I was like, I'm always working. It's like it's just the middle of the week. People take a day off work to day drink, which is admirable. To just burn a sick day to just day drink.
The Dogtown experience here in St. Louis, I had only done it once, and shout out to Tam Avenue, who, you know, guys, if you can support any St. Louis restaurants, but you got to think the Tam Avenues of the world, the Irish bars around St. Louis, like these are days that keep them open. Dogtown as a whole, these keep the restaurants open for another year when they have these days. But I went there, and it was absurd. Like the amount of people that are out, and during the day, they don't care. It's like people just screaming, Klan, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's a thing. And
I could get into it, I think.
Yeah.
I've kind of grown out of binge drinking, so I feel like my window is past to do that. But now a thing is like I'm married now, and my wife makes me a corned beef every St. Patty's Day, and then she makes me this dish called Coal Cannon, I think it's called. I don't even know the name. It's so Irish. It's some kind of sort of potato dish that's phenomenal.
Right.
And I'm so mad last night. I went to Aldi and I went to IGA and I couldn't get corned beef, and now I don't know what's going to happen.
Is that the worst thing that's happened to you?
This is the worst thing that could possibly happen. I wasn't even mad about this thing. I was sort of looking forward to the time off. And all of a sudden I can't
What
get
a dad thing to say, like, hey, you know, I got a lot to do around the house.
You know, seriously, I was like, I can wire up that exhaust fan in the bathroom. Probably can finally get the garage organized.
Yes, yeah. I think that's definitely... Like dads around America are like, yeah, it's about time we got this this time to fix that shelf in the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying. So you're a comic here in town. So people that watch the show, listen to the show, there's levels to comedy from open micers to 30-year veterans right now that are on TV shows that tour. That you got to think. Jim Gaffigan, you went and saw him, right?
Yeah.
Think about, he probably made $1 million in that weekend off ticket sales.
Yeah.
Not including merch, not including exposure, people following, all that stuff. Losing $1 million at that level is very terrible too. Like just because it scales up. Your level, featuring, headlining, smaller shows, all that stuff, like what would you estimate, how many shows have you missed out on? You don't have to give a dollar amount, but.
Oh, I feel like in the next month, well, okay, so I got on stage 18 times in January. I got on stage 18 times in February. I'm probably done getting on stage in March. Yeah. I've gotten up like 5-6 times this month, and I'm probably done.
And you had more schedule.
Yeah, I had to cancel some. And then, like, think about Gaffigan. Think about that. It's not just that he made $1 million, but think of all the people downstream of him. Think of all the people he employs.
Mm-hmm.
All the people at Stiefel Theater. All the people, all the people who park cars. Everything.
It does. It trickles down in a very negative way, and I don't know if it's gonna turn around for the live event stuff. Like we do live streams and things like that, and I've talked to a few people like, should we do like a live stand-up show?
Well, it's gonna turn around eventually.
I mean,
unless everybody figures out that staying home is awesome.
Like, no, it's sad.
What about all the people who are working from home who just figured out that they can work from home? And they're like, I'm not coming back.
Right.
I got everything done you asked me to do at home.
Yeah.
I'm not coming back.
And it's like,
and the employers are like, oh, yeah, we're sorry about that whole charade where we make you come into this building and sit here for 7 hours, pretend to work when you know you're only going to do an hour. Just do that from home from now on.
I think that's a good plan. I think workers stay vigilant. That's what we need to look out for. Real quick, I wanted to thank everybody. It is St. Patrick's Day. Our friends at Slane Irish Whiskey are taking care of us for this stream today. We're going to talk about some local businesses. If you're out and about, pick up some Slane for the quarantine at home. Also, thanks to our friends at Gateway Powder Coating. They support us. I know, Will, you were looking to get some of your grills kind of maybe upgraded to like a fancy neon purple or something.
And some rims. I've been thinking about getting some rims.
Yeah,
powder coated,
big rims guy.
Whole thing. I love the guys at Gateway. I know
They're
those
good
guys.
dudes. Absolutely. We're going to have more to come in the future at 1860s. There in Soulard, we just had an amazing time with the karaoke challenge. Boy, snuck that one in. that was borderline on. If it was scheduled for this week, we would have been irresponsible to have done that. But thank you to everybody that came out. We gave $1,000 away to the winner, and that's because of Jack Daniel's Tennessee Apple and 1860s Bar and Grill.
Was that Saturday night?
1860s. Thursday was the finals.
Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to David. He was the champion. He sang Tennessee Whiskey, and David is a little shorter than me and a large dude who is employed as a security.
That's a hard song to sing.
It is, yeah. I think it adds to it when you look like kind of a bad dude.
Yeah.
And then you kind of charm everybody with your sultry voice.
I always say if you're gonna do karaoke, don't do some great vocalist. Like Chris Stapleton is hard to match. Like nobody can sing that well. Yeah. Don't do Bono. Don't do do a Dylan song. You know, the song is great, but he's not that great of a vocalist, right? People are like, oh, that sounds really good. That's a good version of that Dylan song.
Where you actually upgrade the vocal ability of the singer.
And I want to be clear, I'm the biggest Dylan fan. I'm a huge Dylan fan. But
dude, give me a Dylan impression.
He's not known. You want to hear my
Dylan impression? Does everybody kind of have one?
Everybody has a bad one.
Yeah, I think mine's probably terrible. Yeah, it's like Cartman almost. Yeah. I don't have one. How about some comments, Will? Let's check this out. So I'm trying to stay vigilant on this. And again, too, if you guys want the ultimate experience, I need to put or maybe Matt can throw the YouTube link in the Facebook comments. I don't know if we have that. Yeah, we got that Media Outlaws on YouTube. You can literally watch this on your big screen at home. Does that make me sound super old saying big screen?
Your big screen?
We got pro wrestling on the big screen. We'll check out some comments real quick on Facebook. And again, drop us your best St. Patrick's Day stories. Tom Brown, shout out to Tom Brown. He's lost some comedy shows too. St. Patrick's Day, 10 years ago today. Picks up phone and makes a call. Me, hey, my friend and I are going to McGurk's. You want to meet us there? No, I'm not drunk. Girl I met on Plenty of Fish. Oh. Okay, sure. I'm not exactly sure what she said. I was, in fact, very drunk. Yep, that's how I met my wife, Jen Brown. That was a good answer. Yeah, way to cap that story, Tom. Close hard. From Steve in Iowa. My Irish friend once beer bonged 3/4 a bottle of Captain Morgan, took 3 steps, then passed out in a fire.
Passed out in a fire.
Is that? Do we celebrate that on St. Patrick's Day?
That's pretty hardcore.
How does that work? Sam thought I had a dog. Sam Lyons, local comic. Dog shit Memphis accent, bud. How do you sound? How would you do a Memphis accent? I don't really have a. I can't switch dialects. It's
I would
just
bring
Southern.
the generic Southern one that you did. I don't know if I could. I don't know.
Y'all been to the Grizzlies game? Yeah. From our buddy Jamie Moyer's Fancy Foyer.
Twice you've asked me to do an accent, and twice I've not swung and missed. Just stood
right.
there and took a pitch.
You didn't tell me you were an improv guy. This is your stand against improv.
I've got my Dylan ready now.
Okay. Ready? And now appearing live, 1979 at the Riverport Amphitheater, Bob Dylan.
Oh, mama, can this... That's terrible. Can this really be the end?
Is that what you're going to be singing on the way out?
Now I'm embarrassed now.
I got to go, folks. Yep. Will O'Donnell, everybody. Be sure to support all of his great shows. I was walking down the street when up in the tree I saw something glistening. It was a leprechaun. I rented a backhoe, knocked down the tree, and told the leprechaun, I want the gold. Give me the gold. But the fall killed the leprechaun. Now I'm a leprechaun because of the leprechaun code. You'll never catch me. Why did I decide to read that?
Too wordy. Try again.
Our friend Steve Elgin from Hoosiers Fisca.
Steve.
Hey, I like these guys. Will looked like he had coronavirus before it was cool.
I don't know what that means. Thanks, Steve.
Is this something, like, should we feel bad that we're doing a live stream right now? I feel like there's a little bit of pressure online for people to do absolutely jack shit.
We're less than 10 people. There's only
true.
3 of us in this room.
And
you're the only 2 people I've interacted with today, and I've kept my distance. We elbow bumped today.
let's do our thing here, too.
I didn't even give you, like, a bump.
That's true.
Anything. I stayed back 10 feet.
I just waved at Matt and was like, good to meet you.
Wait, hang on. Here we go.
Hey, another good thing that's coming out of this. Okay, we're all going to work from home from now on.
Okay.
And let's just stop shaking hands forever. It was confusing anyway, you know. Every other time, I don't know if we're going to bump. I don't know if we're going to do the over-the-top handshake, you know, the slip the knuckle. 2 out of 3 times I get it right, but 1 in 3 times it's awkward. We can just avoid it from now on. We don't have to touch each other. It's the end of handshakes.
What will white dudes trying to impress black dudes do, though?
It's really hard, right? That's the thing.
Those are the concerns.
I'm coming in. I'm like, all right, what are we doing here? Are we coming over the top?
And he's like, and the guy's just like, dude,
we can just shake hands
hello,
like normal people.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
What's the worst way somebody shakes a hand? The aggressive handshake.
The too hard handshake.
Yeah,
that's
but
weird.
And it comes from the guy who's like, for sure, like you're like, oh, this guy's coming in hard. Like you know it's coming beforehand, right?
But the worst thing that can happen to you though is when you don't get the grip, when they just grabs the end of your fingers, and you're like, oh no, I'm not a pussy. Let me try again. Let me get a re-grip.
Do your knees buckle just a little bit?
Yeah. Let's do that again. I'm sorry.
Oh, my God. If you're watching and enjoying this, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Media Outlaws. We do a bunch of cool stuff, some back conversations on there. Last week or the week before, I talked to this comic out of Los Angeles, Natasha Pearl Hansen, and that's on the YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch that. Tell me if you would do this. You're married now. You have kids. You understand the gravity of what a wedding day means, right? She was scheduled to get married to her fiance. They'd been together a long time, like 6 to 10 years. I can't remember. They decided to call off the wedding. The deposit was put down. Everybody had already called off the day. We're talking like a couple months out. She was at the level where it was almost time to record a special. So she recorded her first comedy special in the venue where she was supposed to get married. And like did it like for real, and is currently shopping it, like.
So it's okay. So the story is they called off the wedding a couple months before.
Called off the wedding,
which is huge.
Terrible, worst thing, right?
It's terrible, but sort of ballsy, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, to make that choice.
Wow.
To give up your 10
And then
grand.
Instead of losing her deposit just all for nothing, she recorded a special there.
Broke even. She
that
technically made money.
Legendary.
Yeah, I don't know. She
That's
said she's
awesome.
I don't like. Would you be emotionally, like as a comic, would you do that? And then for the rest of your life, that's your first special. Now, if it's your 3rd, 4th, 5th, like maybe there's a little more leeway.
What if it's your 3rd, 4th, 5th marriage? All right, fuck it.
I'm starting to think this is a gag, right? You record a special at each venue, you cancel out for your wedding. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I could do that, but yeah,
that's
if you guys want to go back.
But that is a legendary comedy story. That's
it is.
Great.
Yeah, and I hope it's like massive. She's funny and attractive and all that stuff, and she's got all the right moves. But that story though,
wow,
holy cow! Hope she sells that.
I mean, I guess when you hear about a wedding getting called off, first instinct is like, oh, that's terrible, but not really, right? Like if they were meant to be together,
right decision, is
right?
The thing.
It's like that's better than getting married and then getting divorced in a couple of years and hating each other and
right.
Going through all that, and then not having a comedy special to show for it.
Your kids home?
Yeah. Everyone's off school. Everything's closed.
How's that going?
So far so good.
There's a lot of pause there.
It's only been a couple days.
Pretty big.
The one kiddo's still at college. She comes home on Wednesday.
Really?
But it just started, and it's like, I don't know. We'll see. Well, ask me in a couple weeks. I don't know what it's going to be like.
I feel like it's going to be down to like straight up like you ain't leaving your house.
The funny story is like everyone coming out of quarantine in China now is filing for divorce.
Is that real?
I heard that 88 couples like the first day filed for divorce.
What's the
They've been cooped up together for a month and they're like, enough.
Yeah.
Enough.
we've put like as they've stared down the apocalypse, they're like, "Here, you ain't that one."
I mean, part of the deal is we both go separate places all day long, and then we come home at the end of the day and see each other. I don't know, all day, every day.
I was gonna say too, and then all of a sudden people are getting more competitive with the board games. Maybe that classic peanut butter and jelly that's always made ain't that great when you've had it for 4 days in a row.
That's a good
The
point.
niceties kind of wear off, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do we think the top quarantine meal is going to be like in 3 weeks? Grocery stores are ransacked. I'm thinking it's going to get
Boiled spaghetti with no sauce.
acorns from the front yard
Yeah.
mixed in with the bag of broccoli that's been there for 3 years.
Finally clean out the cupboard without like donating it to the Boy Scouts
Right?
or
You're
whatever.
like, oh, yeah.
Get deep in that cupboard.
The homeless are like, finally, something to stop the 5-year-old green
Yeah.
beans to get dropped
Oh,
off.
got some 5-year-old generic red beans and rice. Just boil it in a bag.
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think who's going to come back the best from this. Like, are people going to, so assuming we go off of like what we're kind of seeing in China and just that maybe it looks like maybe it's subsiding, right? Are people going to come back just fucking ready to rage because they haven't been out in public? Or are they going to be like subdued because we're all a little more scared now? I'm thinking like for the first month of shows that you do, whenever you come back, it's going to be like one large bachelorette party. Like that's what's going to happen. People are like,
could be
I
really-
almost died. I'm here to party.
That's true.
Yeah.
It could be a wild summer. People just out, just partying. I hope so.
That's always been our goal, right?
I hope
Let's have a
so.
crazy summer.
Yeah. Dude, post COVID is gonna be fun.
Post COVID, there are going to be so many.
I'm gonna be on
Somebody's
stage all rusty. Everybody's gonna be rusty, but
Yeah.
everybody will be rusty, so it won't matter.
I think so. Everybody just takes a back seat professionally in their things. Man, I really hope people their act get worse. I hope everybody knocks them down a peg.
Everyone,
Right?
I guess so. But
Yeah.
it's across the board because nobody's working.
Yeah. Right. So it's like
No
you know,
musicians are gonna be playing out live. They're gonna be rusty.
My thing is musicians are funny. Like musicians can do live shows and it'll be really good. It'll be unique and all that stuff. I was talking to a comic yesterday. I think I started to say this, but he's like, have you seen the late night shows without an audience? Like if you just stand there and you're like, I'm gonna live stream 5 minutes of stand up comedy.
Oh.
It's not. It's
does-
it's a
I can't
different thing.
imagine.
You can be funny. You could comment on the paper. You could
Yeah.
you could do things like that. You could be a million different things. But like straight up doing stand up, like you got to have that audience.
You gotta have the audience.
Yeah.
If you have a crummy audience, it doesn't work.
Right.
Even if the audience isn't into it anyway, it's a weird dynamic in comedy. The audience is part of it. You see the exact same material, and if the audience isn't into it, it's not funny.
It's really weird.
It's actually not funny.
It is really.
It was funny
weird.
yesterday when I heard it, and I'm hearing it today, and now it's not funny because the audience doesn't like it. It's like a contagious, to use a,
Hey, take it easy,
topical
buzzword. Yeah.
it's contagious.
It is too, and whether that, and I've seen that happen. Granted, there's different levels to it, and like tenured headliner can kind of pull anything. Like they can probably,
Yeah.
but the difference in like tone from one day to the next, it's a weird thing. And people, if
Yeah.
they ain't having it, they're not. Good luck. It's gonna be bad news. What's the worst audience experience you've had?
Pretty recently, in December, I was opening for John Morgan, and we did 9 shows. 8 shows I hosted, and on the last show,
Funny Bone.
I featured at the Funny Bone. And I was like, hey, John. John was like a hero of mine by the end of the week because he's a phenomenal comic. I think he's great. And so I was like, hey, John, can you watch my set and give me some pointers? And he was like, yeah, dog, sure, man, no problem. So that was a terrible John Morgan impression, by the
Was
way.
that Dylan?
Yeah, that was better. That was a better Dylan than John Morgan. Long story short, my wife shows up.
Remember when Dylan, what was it, the Grammys? They like basically had him on a set of ropes out there with 20 other musicians. Like, he's going to fall over. Like, sorry. I didn't remember that.
He's 150 years old now
Yeah.
and still touring for some reason. But
Yeah. So John Morgan.
my wife shows up with like 5 family members. And that sort of threw me off a little bit. I was like, oh, man, half of my material is about like sleeping with my wife. And like her aunts and uncles are all here. And so that sort of threw me off a little bit. And then for whatever reason, I go out there and I do my first joke and it doesn't hit. And I was like, ooh, okay, all right, second joke. And it doesn't really hit. And I'm like, oh, all right. And then, that tone starts to shift a little bit.
In your head.
Bombing is a weird thing, man. It's like your confidence just starts to droop a little bit. It's like, oh, maybe this isn't very funny.
I see you guys do that. And in your head, I always picture like a switching to learning a lesson mode.
Yeah.
Oh, this will be great experience mode.
All of a sudden,
instead of like I'm featured and I'm having a blast.
All of a sudden, like I hear my own voice, and I'm like, why does my voice sound like this? Like I sound like I'm not having a good time. Oh, because I'm not having a good time. This isn't fun. And so I'm up there just eating it and bombing in front of my wife and her family, and I just like see their faces in the crowd, just looking at me, not laughing. And I know my heroes in the back of the room watching me suck. The first time all week, he's probably paid attention to me, and he's like, well, this guy sucks. And so, like, I got to
waiting for a happy ending.
I got to my closer, and it was okay. I got him with my closer, sort of, but I walked off, and I was like, man.
Yeah.
That hurt my heart for 3 weeks. Like, it hurt. But here's the happy upside. After that, I was like, I'm never going to feel like that again. Like, that set me off, like, to, like, level up. Like, I've leveled up since that day.
Which was a month ago or whatever, 2 months ago.
That was right before Christmas. And since then, like, I've been on fire. I've gotten on stage more than I've ever gotten on stage.
Yeah, I've
Because
had
I don't want to feel like that again.
No, that's a terrible thing.
I don't know how comics get up and bomb on the regular.
Have you had your ass kicked before?
Yeah.
Like truly, like get your ass kicked?
Not bad, but yeah,
Yeah.
I've lost a fight.
Is it akin to that? Where you're like, I'm never again. Cut to you, carrying the big water buckets on a farm.
Yeah.
Getting into fight shape.
Or like if you've really hurt yourself drinking, and you've been like, I'm never drinking again. I don't ever want to feel like this again.
Yeah.
It's like that. And then you bomb again and you get drunk again.
Yeah. Let's check out some comments. If you guys are watching, hit share. We always appreciate that. And again, the podcast is available on iTunes, everything else. So any kind of support you guys can throw us, always appreciate that at We Are Live Radio on all social media. Here we go from Steve. Best St. Patrick's Day stories in the comments. One time my buddy lived in Dogtown. We got up super early to make lemon drinks for everyone. For those who don't know, a lemon drink is lemonade with alcohol in it with added sugar. We drank enough of those at 6 a.m. to break out the booger sugar at 7 a.m. I ended up falling asleep around noon with a 55-year-old woman from Jeffco named Gary. Okay. Woke up at 6 p.m. like, who's ready to party? The answer, no one. I walked around Dogtown with a shameful heart and all right. I had to do some serious reflection. He mentioned something about gaping or something, but Sam and Angela Smith coined Wild Summer. Please pay us royalties. Tom Brown letting us know his comedy career or life was turning into dog shit, and now he's excited for May. Okay, so there we have it. What sport do you miss the most? Do you even pay attention to sports?
I don't. The only sport I pay attention to is baseball.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit worried about Cardinal baseball. I haven't heard anything. What's going to happen with Cardinal baseball? Are they going to play the games and no one's going to come?
There's at least like is it a 2-month waiting period? Like we're talking like maybe a June start.
What?
Might be an abbreviated season. It's going to be something weird. Are you upset because you won't be compared to Matt Carpenter as much?
Yes.
When people meet you at show.
I'm upset that he's not.
Are you living
anymore.
off that Matt Carpenter?
I liked it when he was raking.
Yeah, when Carpenter.
Now people are like, you look like Matt Carpenter. I'm like, I'm not him. I'm not him.
All these St. Louis people are like awkwardly mad at me. What's going on? Oh, Carpenter's hitting 191. Yeah, that's an issue if he goes from MVP candidate to not so great. Huh. Yeah, I don't. I've seen every sport has shut down. Other than like the UFC is kicking and screaming. They are so pissed that they've canceled some events. They're like, they'll fight in the parking lot. We don't care.
Yeah.
But NBA, NHL, NFL, everything just going down, and you gotta think, like massive super bailouts have to come, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. You don't think so? Yeah.
Well, maybe. I mean, they talked about it, but you can't bail everybody out.
Yeah.
And
I'm thinking more for like the workers and things like that.
Sure, they talked about the airlines. They talked about that kind of thing, but it's like, I don't know. I am worried about the economy because it was sort of teetering anyway. Yeah. I was sort of worried about us going into a global recession, and this might be the tremendous like log that breaks the camel's back, like a log comes smashing down.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know.
Who survives that? You're going to be doing stand-up comedy in a Thunderdome?
What are you going to do? Give it a $100 trillion bailout?
Yeah, right. Like, money's not real.
Completely printed money.
This does
leverage against the future even more. I don't even know how any of that works. By the way,
neither. We are the least qualified people to discuss anything of the sort. Yeah.
Global economics. I don't know.
I have thought about like the remote folks that are like. Think about if you didn't have Twitter, you lived in the equivalent of a cabin in Montana or northern Alaska or something, like their life's not going to change, right? Like if you didn't like
Ted Kaczynski-esque.
Yes, I'm thinking I'm kind of jealous of those people right now.
I know a lot of people who are saying like, well, how do I get that? How do I get there?
Maybe that'll make some people go seek that out.
There's too many of us though.
Get right in your head.
It's too crowded.
Yeah, everybody's like, all right, time to isolate in a cabin. You see 50 of them going up around
all
the
that land
mountain
in
range.
Montana is spoken for. You can't just have it.
Right. And I'm not the best with a gun these days. If I try and do the dude thing, we're like, I could live off the land.
Oh, I thought you were
don't
going to
think
take a
so.
gun and go get something.
Oh, like take
you
it
can
from
get more
somebody.
with a gun and a smile than with just a smile. You know?
Thank you for that. Yeah, I didn't really think of it that way.
I'm not
but
that good with a gun, but you could just show up and be like, hey, all your stuff is mine now.
Yeah, right. This is happening. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you understand that. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think if people are morbid or like have more issues if they're watching like apocalyptic type shows and movies right now. Like I'm getting a real look at people. They're like still enjoying The Walking Dead.
It's so strange because nothing has really happened yet.
That I've said that. Like
And
that's
so
the strange
the weird part. Is like,
people
so
aren't
a lot of
dying
people,
in the streets.
A lot of
right?
people don't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, especially a week ago, a lot of people I talked to were like, it's all made
Right.
up. Nothing's going to happen. It's completely
my
fake.
favorite is
and I was
this
like, oh, you watch a different TV channel than I do. Okay, cool. I don't argue with anybody. You know?
Right. That's
It's-
my favorite media. The media is doing this. It's like,
Right.
they're just saying what they heard.
Yeah, it's all made up. I'm like, okay, all right.
It's a strange thing that people decide to jump in on that mindset.
I've been working on a new bit about it.
Yeah.
Why don't I just do it on the air?
You
No,
wanna
I
work it
can't
out?
say I'm going to do a bit and then do a bit. Well, I'll work it in later.
Okay. In the meantime, I'll tell you guys, there's no good transition. St. Louis Counseling Services offers counseling in the St. Louis area. If you are feeling like you need to speak to someone, they've been helping people since the 50s right here in St. Louis. stlouiscounseling.org online. Be sure to support all the, you see the graphics. Look at that. You see all the, wait, hang on. How does this work? Up there? Up there? All the graphics up in the corner, all those people are great supporters of what we do. I mentioned the 1860s karaoke contest. Jack Daniels sponsors the Mid-Coast Comedy Series at Sophie's. Fairly fun show, good room, all that stuff canceled for the time being.
Man, I love that show.
Yeah, but we're looking forward to bringing it back. So you got Eric, the bartender from there, just left a message that said, Doomsday Preppers already know about the pending Civil War. That's what's happening.
Just now that happened?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
He is. He said you had one of the best sets he's ever seen, or the best set he's
Yep.
ever seen at Sophie's.
That's what he said.
Do you collect those like pelts?
Oh, man, I
Yeah.
need those real bad.
Does that take you up a notch or two?
Yeah. I think that's why I get on
Do
stage.
you thrive
right?
on that?
I'm hungry.
You're
I'm
just waiting
hungry.
for
I
that?
got a hungry ego.
Do you come off
I
kind of
wake up
looking
in
at
the morning and just like, oh, I need some affirmation, some external validation. Give it to me.
Yeah.
And I'm hungry all day long, and I'm just miserable. And then I get on stage for 10 minutes, and I'm like, yes. Re-energized for 24 hours.
Jump back off, eyeball the first three people you see. What you got for me? Compliments? We coming? That makes sense. In an apocalyptic situation, you're kind of known for being a spokesperson for QuickTrip. What's your ultimate? You got 5 seconds to run in. We'll say 15 seconds to run in. You get 3 items from QuickTrip. What are you grabbing?
Probably going for a gallon of milk.
Not practical. I'm thinking one meal.
My
Gallon of
mind
milk.
immediately is like, protein,
Yeah. Sack of eggs.
you know?
No, I'm thinking more
Going
of
for
like
the cash register.
cigarettes. Cigarettes are worth of gold in
That's
this.
true.
I'm thinking items prepared. You get You get
man.
3 items for one meal.
Those egg rolls, those QuickTrip egg rolls,
You going with those?
phenomenal. Getting one of those,
Sure. With your gallon of milk.
my gallon of milk. And then I'm
44-ounce Rooster Booster.
getting a tall boy.
Okay. Yeah.
Good old tall boy Budweiser.
You doing Budweiser, man?
Yeah. It's got a little more alcohol in it than the Bud Select. I like the flavor of the Select,
Uh-huh.
but you know,
You do it right.
alcohol per ounce. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
with the Bud Heavy.
I appreciate that about you, and that's why you're here right now. So are you going to do anything different on the comedy side? You're just going to get a lot of writing done while this is happening?
I guess. I hope so.
It's going to suck whenever we all just kind of just take to, like, don't do anything to improve, and we just bitch online for
I
2
have
months.
a daily writing practice. I write every day.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to get up. Like, I finally got into the rhythm of getting up all the time. Like, I've been getting up 18 times a month.
Yeah.
And I've leveled up as a result. And then all of a sudden this happens. It's like, damn it. All right, what am I going to do? Well, I got to figure out some kind of online thing.
Something,
maybe.
yeah.
Maybe change up my writing routine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Take up meditation or something.
There you go. That's something. Get sober for 2
Discover
months.
some new drugs. I am sober.
You're sober?
Well, no, that's not alcohol. No alcohol.
Okay.
I gave up alcohol for Lent.
Okay. This Lent?
Yeah, I haven't had alcohol in 3 weeks.
It's a bad time.
I know. I
Real
picked
bad
one
time.
hell of a Lent.
It's the only acceptable time to just like crack open something at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday.
I'm thinking about making an exception for St. Patty's.
Yeah.
Like,
With your corned beef tonight?
I get to have a tall boy tonight or something.
Yeah. I think you
corned beef.
deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's St. Patty's.
Make it happen.
My grandfathers would approve.
How many Dropkick Murphy songs will you listen to the rest of the day?
Oh, man. I'll say, is that like saying Hail Marys? You got to say.
I think so. You have to.
I'm not even Catholic, and I'm observing Lent. I just wanted to do it.
You're just like, I need a break.
I need a break from drinking all this booze.
I think we've got Sam Lyons mouthing off in here from Tom Brown. WrestleMania will happen live with 0 audience. That's a shame.
Are they really going to do events with no audience? That's so weird.
It is strange, because like certain things work like it. Music works like that.
Yeah.
You could do like a podcast, what we're doing. It's a
Yep.
version. It's a lo-fi version of an interview show.
But
right?
things that are used to having a live audience, not having a live audience.
Well,
even
yeah.
Even musicians, I can't imagine them. I'm sure they feed off of the energy of the crowd.
Let me tell you, as somebody who's had plenty of interviews with musicians while they play, even if I love them, it's awkward because you're like, do I make a face? Do I clap? Like, do I do this number? Like, do I do that?
Yeah.
So even if there is a small amount of people in attendance, Matt does a thing at Gaslight called Gaslight Sessions. You got all these cool people coming in. Is it ever awkward doing that, Matt? Like do people ever, are they looking to feed off of something? Do you notice that?
It's really weird for him because it's like being in a fishbowl.
Yeah.
So if you haven't been to Gaslight, it's a studio and then it's got a glass wall.
Yeah.
To the bar. So the people watching are looking in like a caged animal.
Right.
So great for coronavirus, not so great for feeding off energy.
That's
Yeah.
weird. Yeah.
And yeah, so a lot of people are always like, oh man, I don't.
But the end product looks beautiful, right?
Yeah.
That's what you have to listen. That's what you have to think about.
Well, and the cool thing about being in an isolated room like that and then being in the bar is that whenever you listen to them perform, it's already going through Pro Tools and everything, so it sounds like it's already mixed and radio worthy.
Oh wow.
So it's really bizarre to not hear like just amplifiers in the distance versus hearing this perfect mix come through almost like the radio.
That's
But
cool.
it's live right in front of you.
Interesting.
I feel like as a musician, you must build a lot of, like musicians who get to a level where people are coming to their shows because they want to be there, which is a pretty high level of being a musician.
Man, there's really good bands that don't draw.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like by the time you get to that point, you must be so strong. Like you must be so used to playing to people who aren't paying any attention,
Right.
who don't care at all, who are talking the whole time. They have their back to the stage. So when you finally get to the point where people are showing up and they're facing the stage and they're excited to see you, that must feel great.
I saw.
And you must be so strong because I can't
You
imagine
have to
doing
be.
comedy to a crowd that's just. I mean, I have done comedy to crowds who aren't into it, and it sucks.
Yeah.
You can't get a rhythm, and you don't feel good, and you don't feel funny, and it just doesn't work.
The difference in so we did that karaoke thing at 1860s last week again. Support them. Support Jack Daniel's Tennessee Apple, and packed, right? The joy I had knowing that I didn't have to tell people to pay attention like you do at a comedy show.
Yeah.
Like if
Hey,
you have a rowdy
folks.
crowd at a comedy show and you're trying to do like if it's not just like an open mic or something, you're like, hey, let's go. Hey, show them some respect. I was so happy that I didn't have to do it because I'm like, oh, this is nice. People are so dumb
Yeah.
and have no respect. And I'm like, just have no respect. It's karaoke.
It's
Cool.
It's one of the hardest things. I haven't mastered the art of like telling the crowd to shut up. It's
So
so hard to
weird.
do
It is weird too.
because immediately your tone shifts to I'm a jerk, and you lose some of the audience right away. It's like, oh crap, how do I tell this person to shut up in
Right.
a nice way and be funny? And I don't know.
I think that's
figure it
why
out.
you see some comics just straight up go into teacher mode, and
Yeah.
some throw a fit, some don't. But I guess everybody's got their different styles of taking the crowd down or getting them back on.
I did
on
it the
track.
other night. They were starting to chatter and murmur, and I didn't even plan it. I just go, guys, real loud, and they all looked at me, and I was like, I just launched into something. They paid attention.
Yeah.
I listened back to it later, and I was like, wow, I just like shouted at them in the microphone.
That's from having kids, man.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Listen to me. I worked for a long time on this material.
Trying to get headliner status in the next few years. I need you to pay attention so I can thrive off your feedback. I think if you just level with them.
Comedy crowds are so weird. It's like 99% of them understand that they're supposed to be quiet, but there's always one or two people who don't understand that they're supposed to be quiet. And then the comic will tell them, not directly, they won't say, I want you to shut your mouth. They'll just like talk at them and make fun of them.
Right.
And the person never gets it. They just keep talking and talking and talking. And the doorman has to come over and be like, sir, please stop talking. Don't talk back to the act on stage.
My favorite is, I'm here to have fun.
Yeah.
What?
No, he likes it. I was like,
You know?
He doesn't like it. That was my first experience. So the first ever stand-up show I saw was Dave Chappelle at what would be Hearn Center at Mizzou.
Your first stand-up special was Dave Chappelle?
I guess I was 18.
Wow.
Yeah, in Columbia. It was just never something like, we never went up to the Funny Bone. Like, I watched comedy specials. I listened to
Right.
Bob and Tom.
Yeah.
So I knew who comedians were. And I loved comics and stuff like that. But yeah, my first like show was Chappelle. And then after that, I'm like, oh, well, all stand-up shows are going to be crazy. My first club show I saw was at Deja Vu in Columbia, Missouri, which even for the guys that were working there, it was just a hellhole where they would, paper the room with office party tickets.
It's closed now, right?
It closed. Yeah. But they had like big names and stuff in there.
Yeah, it's some
and
good
you
acts.
go and it's super rowdy and it just was not the best. So by the time I got to go to a few club shows and things like that, like real club shows, like, your Helium type shows,
Yeah.
Funny Bone type shows, that was so much better of an experience because, man, those shows sucked. Like, and it was probably partially because I saw Chappelle first.
As a
should
comic,
never do that.
they're a good experience, though. I feel like you build muscle on those shows.
I'm sure.
If you can figure out how to wrangle that crowd's attention, get them to pay attention to you, then when you go to a club and it's easier.
I feel like I've heard much more tenured, like on the more tenured side, comics be like kind of happy for people that have like a strong start, right? So say you're 5 years in and you're crushing all the time, then you do have a night where like you want to cry, and they're like, yeah, you need that because you're advancing quicker than most people do, and you need those moments to kind of keep you tempered, right?
That's how my John Morgan night was.
Yeah.
Like
you're thinking, you're like, well, you've done it.
I don't do poorly very often.
Yeah.
I just don't like.
Sure.
And so when it goes bad for me, it like hurts real bad. But then it was the best thing that's happened to me, and like that motivated me more than anything has. So.
That's weird, man. It's a strange thing how much negativity can affect this comedy life, whatever. You're just like, oh, well.
I can't stand it. When I go up there and I do 20 minutes and
Yeah.
there's like one part that they don't like, I can't stand it. That from that moment, I can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you've bombed in conversation before. You tell a joke and your friends all just sit there and look at you, or they stop paying attention, and that feeling in your gut, just imagine 300 people are looking at you like that. Like, that was some dumb shit you just said there, Chris.
And knowing,
Next.
and
like,
knowing
oh.
you've got 7 more minutes of
Yeah.
it. Yeah. You can't just be like, oh, I gotta hit the bathroom, I'm back. No, you're gonna stay up there and eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll make a man out of you. So, again, this is this conversation being brought to you by Slane Irish Whiskey when you're at the grocery stores. That's scary, seeing the empty meat aisles and the toilet paper thing. I know they're all restocking and everything like that, but if you look into it so much and what they're wanting everybody to do, people get panicked.
How weird is it going to get? We don't know. I feel like it could be not that bad.
I hope not. Yeah, I hope it's
could be
just
not that bad.
like a pause. I just hope it's a pause.
Yeah.
Because if you start being like, hey, you know that thing where the immune compromised and older folks are the main people that are going to do that? Oh, it's everybody now. Like, who's to say that's not going to happen? Like, that could happen, and that could get real bad.
And I don't know how viruses work. I know less about viruses than I do about global
let's break it down.
But
let's
isn't it inevitable that we're all going to be exposed to it eventually.
Yeah, that's what I think they're working so hard on the vaccine or that something.
So the
along
only
those
thing
lines.
we can do is slow it down.
Yeah.
So that
we can be more prepared.
Flatten the curve is the phrase I keep hearing, so that we don't overwhelm the medical.
That's the thought. Yeah.
And so in that way, it's like, well, you're gonna get it eventually. You better be doing your push-ups or whatever.
I think so. Yeah, eating your greens.
I've been taking multivitamins.
How's that going?
My piss is extremely bright yellow.
Perfect.
Walmart multivitamins.
Oh man.
Nature Valley
like
or
orange.
whatever.
Sam Lyons. I can't imagine bombing regularly. That must suck. Fuck you, Will.
Hey.
Sam Lyons.
You don't bomb regularly.
Man,
Let's list off the local comics who bomb regularly.
Imagine being a road comic that bombs regularly. Like that would be a strange thing.
I don't
right?
think you should get used to bombing. I don't think if you're used to bombing, reevaluate.
Yeah. Would you ever pull anyone aside and tell them that? Has anybody asked you for so
No,
how long
I don't
have you
think
been in
it's
comedy?
fair.
3 years, 5 years?
Coming on 4 years.
4 years. So I'm sure there's some new people that look to you for advice. I bet the 5 and 10 and 15 and 20 year comics really get hit up for advice, right?
Yeah.
But
They probably get tired of it.
Would you? Yeah. Michael Costa, he's on the Daily Show. Very funny comic. He tweeted, "Oh no, comedy clubs are closing. Where will I have my inevitable horrific conversation with drunk 20-something-year-old guy who's thinking about doing an open mic?"
Yes. Ugh.
I was like, I've probably done that version to somebody
The
before,
audience
whether
member
it
was
be
like, I've
somebody.
always wanted to do it.
Because
like, then do it.
It happen. What happens
It's
is
Tuesday.
Dude,
Do it.
I've seen it with this stuff or radio or whatever else. They talk about you for the first 17 seconds. Yeah, you guys are funny. You do this. Oh wow, it was really cool. You did that one thing, right? Yeah, man. Thanks. Appreciate it. My friends always said I should. That's always what comes next, and then it's great. You absolutely should. And then it's 5 minutes of them explaining to you how they'd be funny. I feel like I've probably done that myself though too.
I've
with
had
something.
I've bored some people. So I guess every level of comedy you get to, you look back at what you were doing a year before and you're like, oh my God, that was horrible. But at the time, you didn't think it was horrible. You couldn't, or you wouldn't have been able to get on stage.
Right.
So you have to be sort of that. You have to. So I guess what I'm saying is, if I talked to myself a year ago, I'd be like, dude, you suck. What are you even doing?
Right.
But at the time, I didn't think I sucked.
Yeah.
4 years ago, I'd have been like, oh my God, that's horrible. But at the time, I thought it was really good. So I guess I keep that in mind. When I see new people go up and just struggle and be horrible, part of me is like, oh my God, this guy should not do this. But it's like, no, wait a minute. He just started.
Yeah. He's on a different.
He'll get better.
He's
And
shorter down the track than you.
And then I have to remember that when I'm working with some headliner and I'm like, hey, watch my set. I'm thinking like, I'm pretty good. I'm up there getting laughs. And it's like, dude, he's 15 levels, 25 levels above me.
Right.
He thinks I suck. He rightly thinks I suck because I suck. I just don't know I suck. I haven't gotten good enough to know that I suck.
And hopefully he's not making it personal or she's not making it personal. They're just saying, oh, he's here and he'll get to there maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. But I don't know. As you're comic, so you want that affirmation. You want someone to be like, you got it, bud.
That's why you get out of it.
You got the talent, man. You can do this.
That's true. So, all right. So what are you planning for the rest of the day? It's St. Patrick's Day, COVID-19. Again, we've Lysol'd up, germ blasting. Thanks, by the way. I laughed at my mom when she gave me this 2 or 3 weeks ago. She gave me 2 of those and a face mask.
$29.95, ladies and gentlemen.
You can have the rest of it. What are you going to do the rest of the day?
I'm going to try and sell some things. I sell things for a living.
Yeah.
I have people messaging me left and right looking for hand sanitizer.
And you
and
can't
I'm
get
writing
it?
them all back saying, I don't have it.
Yeah.
I don't have it. I had a customer email this morning because he was pissed because I told him his price went up on gloves. And he was like, well, then I'm not going to use you anymore. You're taking advantage of the situation. I'm like, yeah. Like, you sell heavy equipment for a living. If the whole country suddenly wanted to buy heavy equipment, guess what? The price just went up.
Yeah,
That's how it works. I'm not
pricing
taking
goes up.
advantage of
you
the
guys
situation.
are having to pay more to get it shipped
Right.
to you.
We have 100 left in the warehouse and 1,000 people want them. Guess what? The price went up. That's how it works. So whatever.
Well, you get back out there to gouging and taking advantage of the public.
Take them for everything they've got.
Where can people find you online? What's the best way to go to your shows and check out things once things kind of kick back up? Knowing you You'll probably do some funny videos and stuff too. Maybe add Will O'Donnell on Facebook. You can kind of keep up with his shows. all that
Yeah,
good
hit me up
stuff,
on Facebook at WR O'Donnell. I'm on Instagram, Willie Thrilly Comedy.
It's a cute name.
I think I might keep that one. It just came up with it one time. Willie
Oh,
Thrilly Comedy.
do you go by Willie Thrilly? Not really.
Yeah, just it's a sort of memorable, and it's hard to spell. You got to spell it with a Y. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm gonna work with some marketing people maybe and figure something out.
you should look into that.
If you look up Will O'Donnell, if you Google it, there's about 10,000 of us. So look for this mug.
You know what the
Yes.
O'Donnell clan's like? Slain Irish whiskey.
That's right.
Yeah, don't forget it while you're at the
Delicious
store.
slain Irish whiskey.
Make it happen.
Irish people are made of copper. Did you know that? They have to drink whiskey to keep the pipes clean.
Okay.
I don't know. If you give him beer, he'll be dead in a month.
No,
Clogs him
yeah.
up.
You-
That almost felt racist.
yeah.
Yeah. It's the one it's totally fine.
Okay.
That
People can pick on you
Irish
big
people
time.
don't mind.
They're like, potato famine. Like, that's horrible.
Because things haven't been that bad for what? A couple hundred years?
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like
You figured it out.
took most of the sting out of things.
Took over Boston.
You know, but
Very
still
nice.
Irish people love to be like, hey, we're from an oppressed people. It's like nobody remembers that at all.
I think,
Relax.
yeah. How are things now? It's going okay.
Pretty good. Pretty
Yeah.
good. Our name's on a lot of stuff, you know?
Absolutely. So follow Will and check him out whenever it comes. Again, support all the sponsors. You see all the logos on here. Follow the YouTube page, Media Outlaws, and we're going to keep some content coming. As far as We Are Live goes, make sure you're subscribed. If you want to throw us a review, that'd be amazing. We love seeing that on Apple iTunes or Apple Podcasts, excuse me. And just stay up to date. We're going to do several interviews this week. Going to have some fun. I believe Ian Bagg's going to jump on. Jessime Peluso. She's a very funny comic as well. And I'm working on some bigger names. People are bored, man. So I'm like shooting shots. Sent a message to some really famous people last night, and I really hope they don't screenshot it. and
Are you
be
gonna
like,
do like
don't
a
be
virtual,
this guy.
like a virtual
Yeah,
thing?
just like a VMix, like it's
Yeah.
VMix is the program. You just like a video call. So should be fun. Yeah, as long as we can. I was talking to some people, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm down. Just gonna make sure we're still here in a few days." So everybody's kind of just being vigilant. So stay safe out there. Keep your hands clean. Again, follow us at We Are Live Radio. Excuse me, on any social media platform. Thanks again to Matt, Media Outlaws, for taking care of engineering today. Thanks to Will for coming by,
Thank you, sir.
braving the building.
It was pretty brave. It
Yeah.
was pretty brave. I'll take that.
We're going to Lysol Will down as we get out of here. But again, thanks to everybody for tuning in. If you can, support everybody who needs help around you. Let's take care of each other, guys. Thanks.